Local election headquarters.
Welcome back. We are continuing our series of sitting down with all 7 of the major candidates for governor. This week, Shannon Heckt spoke with Treasurer John Schroder. He is among the multiple Republicans looking to take the state's highest office. Take a look.
Welcome back. We're continuing our series to meet with all of the major candidates for governor this year. Today I'm joined by Treasurer John Schroder. Sir, thank you for being here.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Well, we know a lot about you already, but I just want to dive into policy now. And just to start off with the early GOP endorsements, I just want to hear a little bit more about why you decided as another Republican to put your name into this race.
Well, because I think I'm have all the qualifications to be the governor, and after being in the legislature, and then certainly after serving as state treasurer and serving on all the boards that I sit on, it's really experience at 62. There's something that I have that you can't read about in a book, that you can only get one way, and it's called wisdom. I think what the building lacks, and when I say the building, I mean the Capitol. What it lacks, in my opinion, is somebody who's able to put all politics aside and concentrate on the policy issues that we need so badly in this state.
I've asked you about this before, about education and funding early childhood education, and I'm sure you've seen the change to investing more into that in recent years.
Yes.
So should you be elected, how do you plan to continue to pay for this? Because I know you're in support of letting the 0.45 roll off, correct?
Yes. Yeah, look, the legislature and the governor is going to have to make priorities. You know, I see all the spending, and it's given me a bird's eye view being state treasurer, managing all the money. I'm the bank for the state, but you see where all the money is spent. And, you know, I certainly have my opinions on where we should and where we shouldn't, but I don't have a vote. The governor has a big vote on where money. So these are all things that aren't going to go away overnight, but where does it affect us the most? In education. You know, so we have poor kids, unhealthy kids coming from uneducated families. I've often described the education world in 2 pots. You have the pot that everybody's in right now, and then you have the pot of young kids, children, you know, 1, 2, 3, getting ready to go into that system. And that's where we have to improve.
And speaking of crime, you know, we're hearing this a lot this election season,
Right.
that everyone wants to say it's bad and we have to do something. But I want to hear about some specific policies that you would want to try to enact should you be elected.
Right. Well, first of all, look, the governor's not the mayor of the cities and isn't the president of any of the councils, okay? But this is really, look, my first professional career was in law enforcement. It's really about relationships and partnerships, because you can't do anything by yourself. I worked on big federal drug task forces in Kentucky and Tennessee, both with local counties, the Postal Service, the DEA, Sheriff's Office, chiefs, everybody. It takes that kind of effort. It's like playing a football game. You know, LSU's not going to do any good, or Southern's not going to do any good. The quarterback won't be worth the flip if he doesn't have 5, 6 linemen and a good tight end blocking. Law enforcement works the same way, but you have to have laws that support. You have to have a community that supports, and we have to do that. We have to invest. We have to educate. You have to have proper training. But I also believe you have to have accountability.
And I want to turn to insurance. I know you're a homeowner. You've built many homes yourself, so I'm sure you're acutely aware of homeowners insurance. And so should you be elected, we're having a new insurance commissioner.
Yeah.
How would you want to tackle this? It's a major issue. Would you call a special session?
Oh, absolutely. And look, let me tell you, it's such a big issue. It is certainly congratulations to Tim Temple, but nobody wanted a job. You know, it's one of the toughest jobs that we face, and I commend him for wanting to run and now being elected unopposed. He's got one of the biggest challenges in the state, next to crime and insurance, two of the biggest things we face. But I will tell you this, as governor, we're going to get the players in a room, whether it's the legal side, insurance side, property side, meaning property. The construction industry has to have a seat at the table. You know, I recently met with some folks out of Alabama that they're doing structurally that they say Louisiana's doing very poorly in. Look, this is going to be pages of suggestions, like 3 or 4 pages of things that that we're going to have to improve on. But will I call a special session? Look, if I'm the governor, I don't mean this in any other way, I'm coming to work.
Well, Mr. Schroder, just to wrap up, you just want to give a few more points about why people should vote for you.
Well, look, I think this state needs a CEO. I have almost 9 years in law enforcement, military and law enforcement experience, 30 plus years in business. I spent almost 10 years in legislature, and I've been your treasurer now for 6 years, so experience is what it is that I haven't. And it wasn't until I became treasurer, well into my 3rd year, when I started thinking about it. Actually, a few people sat down one day and said, you ought to think about doing this. And you look back at all the things you've done and all the experiences that you have, you know, I think I'm far outdistance anybody when it comes to the resume. So I think the state needs a CEO, somebody who pays attention to the operation itself, which, again, we get bogged down in all the politics, all the things going on, while the operation itself is being run by a whole bunch of people and you don't have a CEO. So I think first and foremost, we need a CEO go to work 5-6 Mondays a week and pay attention to how we are delivering the services of the Department of Revenue, Department of, you pick it, DOTD, motor vehicles. Those are the ones that people touch a lot. And if you listen to people, nobody's really happy. You don't get anybody to hold their hands up and say they have a lot of faith in government right now. I want to set the tone on that and restore some faith in this process and trust in the process. And that's very, very important.
Well, Treasurer John Schroder, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
We'll be right back.
Yep, things you need to know before you head to the polls. All right, next week we will speak with Stephen Wagasback, the late arrival candidate who claims the title of political outsider. That's more next Sunday. Up next, we'll have a look at the week ahead on your local election headquarters. Stay with us.